Hey, what's up guys? This is GT, aka Gifted Thought, and you're watching Channel APA. I started back in 10th grade. I started writing in 10th grade. It was, I was dating a girl at the time. It was actually my first, girlfriend, and I wanted to impress her. So I started writing these, cheesy love raps type of thing. I mean, it works for the time, but how impressive you have to be as a high school kid, right? And it kind of progressed from there. By the time I got to college, it became much more than, I don't know, something to do to impress somebody. You know, it became, I guess, my primary way of expressing myself. And really that manifested into almost like a hobby, almost like a career pursuit, but somewhere in the middle right now. But yeah, it's just my primary form of expression. So pretty much in transition, just as the title suggests, it was a transitionary period of my life. Actually, it dropped 2 years ago, almost exactly. It was April of '08. And that had been a couple years after I'd gotten out of college. But the recording was primarily done in college. And I think it's fair to say that everybody goes through a growing period in college and, kind of defines who you are and it really shapes who you kind of end up being as a person and as a man, And In Transition is, I guess, a very candid record of that time. Almost 100% of it is very personal, in the sense that these are things that I really felt or said or happened to me. And it really was, I had originally no intention to put these collection of songs together as a mixtape. But looking at what I had, and recorded, and since I started recording in college, although I started writing in high school, I looked at what I had and thought, there's a theme to this kind of, and I didn't really want to make it an album because I had no intentions of selling it, mainly because I was using other people's beats and stuff, and I wasn't trying to get in trouble or anything. But yeah, just to kind of put that stamp, that this is my debut collection of music and everything. And that's how In Transition came to be. I guess one way to look at it is, if I were girly and wrote a diary every day of my life, through college and a couple years after, these would be, I guess, random pages from that diary, and just, slapped into music form. And since then, I'm kind of sad to say that I haven't done as much. Just, got kind of caught up in the corporate grind and all that type of thing. But it's really a huge personal milestone, and it's one that I look fondly back upon, and something that, I guess, sets the pace for where we go from here. Honestly, collaboration, I think, is everything. In the sense that it allows you to work with like-minded artists if you so choose. I know there are people out there who will work with whoever just to get that name on a track. And I'm not gonna lie, there are times where, I was like, oh, I wish I could work with this person because, that'll get a lot of publicity and blah, blah, blah. But especially on In Transition and even on upcoming works, my mentality's kind of switched to where I want to work with people that understand not only who I am as an artist, but who I am as a person. So for the vast majority of the people that I collaborate with, it's because, I know them and I'm cool with them and we understand each other. I'm pretty cool with, I guess, a lot of artists, including on the East Coast. There's the whole Muso camp, which is Decipher, Johnny Flow, Ailey, who's kind of like extended, Muso, and then more local in the Virginia area, I'm pretty good friends with Lyrics and Manifest, and over on the West Coast, I got, a couple people. One, the main person being this incredible R&B / gospel singer named Jacqueline Chun. Although she's kind of low key, but that girl's crazy. But yeah, those are, I guess, some of the names that are kind of closer to me right now, and I've worked with most of them in the past, and I'd love to work with them in the future again. Honestly, I didn't I wasn't really too into rap and hip hop until, I guess, high schoolish, and that's when I started getting into it. And then by the time I got to college, you know, I'd actually gotten to this whole like backpacker mentality where, you know, it's all underground, you know, all real hip hop and all that stuff. So, you know, initially I was listening to, I guess, a lot of underground people. Well, it's debatable whether some are underground or not, but Jurassic 5 was one of the first groups I really liked. And, you know, Talib, Atmosphere, one of my favorite hip-hop groups. But I guess even more influential than them were when I first started to see these independent Asian artists doing it. And this was back, I guess, between the 02, 04 time frame when some of them really started to pop up. And Far East Movement was, you know, already kind of budding on the radar back then. And I had a working relationship already at that point. You know, I had kind of become friends with the guys from the Muso camp. Well, they weren't Muso back then, but, you know, with Johnny and D, and it was really cool to, I guess, to grow up together in this musical space. Although, I mean, arguably they're taking it a lot further than I am, and you know, that's kind of, they're trying to make that their 9-to-5 grind, where I'm kind of on the fence about that, or what I want to do personally. But yeah, so a lot of the people who are my colleagues now actually influenced me a lot. So atunes.net kind of started back in, actually right after I dropped the mixtape, which I just realized went off the screen. But anyway, atunes.net, yeah, I started atunes.net summer of '08, June of '08 actually, and it was actually because I thought there wasn't really a huge space to promote other Asian American artists, not even for myself. As much as I love doing music, I think I may even have a greater love just for supporting the scene. And, you know, I kind of said this in, it wasn't really the mission statement, but in one of the first posts about A-Tunes, but my goal is for one day A-Tunes, the need for A-Tunes to not exist. And I think it needs to exist now, and sites like that, such as Channel APA, I think these type of sites need to exist because there's some underrepresentation, but more importantly, what is represented is often misrepresented. Anyway, but if you catch my drift, and I just really wanted to, I guess, promote in a more realistic level of what is out there, and that there is talent out there, regardless of, you know, the race or the eye shape or, you know, accent even. And that's really why I started A-Tunes, just to show, you know, real snapshots of real people doing real good music. And, you know, it's something that's near and dear to my heart. For the most part, I guess, at least from the music that's out now, that's, or at least publicly available now, as I said, with In Transition, and if you can manage to find anything from, you know, before, which sucks, by the way, you know, I was real young, but if that's all pretty personal stuff. So if they end up taking away anything, they're actually taking away, I mean, it's going to sound like terribly cheesy, but taking away a piece of me, you know what I mean, and that's cool. I like being vulnerable through my music. I like being able to honestly express myself. I don't consider myself the nicest, I'll be quite frank. I don't consider myself the most ambitious, but I do consider myself one of the most honest people in my music. And I wish that, I would hope that they take away knowing that what they just listened to was real. And whether they like it or not is a completely different story, but I just hope they would respect the candidness and, you know, the reality of my music.